the microphone, so please raise your hand and I will pass out the mic.
Hey, Mus, this makes 6 losses in your last 7. Where do you feel like this team stands right now with just 3 games left in this regular season?
I mean, we stand where our record says we stand, Ryan. I mean, you see where we are in the standings. That's where do we stand? We stand there. Purdue's lost 4 in a row. I think every team in the league but one has lost 3 in a row. With the way the schedule is going to come out, you're going to have ups and downs unless you have superior talent. I thought the effort in the second half was great, and I thought the defense in the first half was, probably the worst defense that I've ever had a team play in my college tenure. There's no use calling out. I'm not going to call out any individual players. We talk about that behind closed doors, so the defense in the first half and the turnovers is why we lost the game. Second half, we played good enough to win. Missed some free throws, had some crucial turnovers, and then obviously, Royals' 3-point play. He had 10 points at that point in the game, and drove the ball from 3-point land, and not only did he score, but he drew a foul, and so. I told you guys a long time ago about our team. We have to play, near flawless to win basketball games. I thought Sean did a great job. We were able to switch 1 through 5 in the second half, and I thought that really helped us. First half, I mean, I don't even need to look at the stat sheet. If somebody shoots 70% in the first half, I mean, you can't even do that when there's no defense on the floor. You can't shoot the 3 if they went out and spot shot alone. I don't know if they could make that many threes and shoot that percentage. So, look, credit to them. I mean, they beat us. They took it to us at the beginning of the game, and there's no excuses at all. So. But, we had a tough decision. We get back at 5 a.m. Guys went to class at 8 on Monday. We literally got back at 5 a.m. And so you got to make a decision at 1 o'clock when your practice time is. Do you practice Monday or not? And we felt like we had to prep. Ohio State was sitting here when we were in Rutgers, and they played earlier than us. And, we're going to have to figure out how to overcome some of that. And now we go to, it's like playing in the NBA. I mean, you play Washington Wizards, and then you go play, Brooklyn, and then you come back home and play a game, and then you go play the Blazers. That's what the schedule's like. These are college-age students, and so we've got to figure out: are we practicing tomorrow or not? I couldn't tell you guys right now whether we should practice or just take off. Just because of mental and physical exhaustion. So anyway, I mean, but Ohio State beat us. I don't want anyone to think that has zero excuse, but I do have to make a decision if we're practicing tomorrow or not.
Coach, what was the thinking in not calling a timeout when you had the ball, I think with 28 seconds in the front court, and then on the last possession, before the 3-point play was 17 seconds. You chose to just let the players run. Were you concerned about, you didn't want them to set up a defense, or is there another reason?
Well, that's the way that I've coached, and we've won a lot of games.
Okay.
Coach, for you to say, for you to say, that first half defensive performance was the worst you've ever had in your coaching tenure, for that to happen this late in the season, what's your explanation for that, and how disappointing is that?
Well, I think with any coach, when you don't play up to your expectations, you always wonder what it is. I thought we looked tired, but then we found a second gear. We took guys out right away in the second half. If a guy got scored on, we took him out, and maybe there was an accountability jolt. But I thought that, defensively in the second half, we found, another gear than what we had, in the first half.
Speaking of just going into another gear in the second half, can you talk about what was your words to the team in that halftime to make them turn it to another level in the second?
Yeah, we just talked about if you don't guard, I'm going to have to take you out of the game, and you can't be casual in a game like tonight. Ohio State's physical, so again, I'm not going to say any individual names of as collectively as a team, defensively in the first half, and lack of physicality, lack of lateral foot speed. Those are some of the things. I can't. This is the team that we put together, but we definitely lack lateral foot speed defensively. Getting to loose balls, that's been a problem all season long. Reaction to loose balls, sliding our feet, keeping dribble drives in front of us. So it's collectively, 1 through 5, and we'll try to help the guys going into Oregon from a schemes standpoint. But Oregon beat us here, and so we got to go up there and figure out a way to play better.
Hey, Coach. Despite the loss, we got a chance to see another great performance from Wesley Yates, and just talking about his development over from the month of November, averaging like 9 points, jumping over now he's about 17 this month. Just talk a little bit about what you've seen him, throughout this few months stretch.
Yeah, I think that from the my NBA background, I look at our basketball team. It's our first year here, and it's really important for us to develop. And when we inserted Wes into the starting lineup at Washington, from that moment on, it was no different than if you have a rookie that you think has a promising future in the NBA, and you play him and you let him play through mistakes, and then hopefully, next year when we're all sitting here, Wesley is a big part of what we're trying to do. That was a decision that I made. I didn't need to consult anybody, and I know when you put a freshman out there and you let him play that many minutes, there's going to be some, you're going to take a step forward, you're going to take a step backwards. But I'm not just trying to coach for this year. We're building. We're not where we want to be right now. We're not where we've been in the past. So Wes was a decision, and he's taken that opportunity and run with it. And he's one of the best freshmen in the Big Ten, and I hope that he's a big piece for us next year. And so his performance, I thought he played as hard as he could defensively as well.
You mentioned just how difficult the schedule has been. Does it feel to you like over this stretch of the 6 losses in 7 games that the team kind of ran out of gas this late in the season? And how do you just regroup now, given that there isn't that much time left?
Well, the only thing I know is just to get back in the gym and get ready for Oregon. I'm not really sure what else you can, as a player, you can get in the ice bath and but it's again, when you've been through this travel, this game was a game I thought was going to be harder for us physically than the games on the road. I think you saw it with UCLA. They came back off the road and played Minnesota, and it's really hard to do when you play 2 games and you finally catch up to the time. And then you come back and you got to play a game in 48 hours. It's hard, and due to our plane stuff, we didn't think we were going to get in at 5, but that's what happens when you travel. Sometimes things like that happen. So, but we also lost 2 games that we lost to Minnesota at home. So it is what it is. We are what our record says. So whether you win in the middle of the year, whether you lose in the middle of the year, it is what it is. Maryland is a hard place to play. We're playing in sold out buildings. Anyone that travels, like the Rutgers crowd was phenomenal. The Maryland crowd was insane. So you got a lot of things that I think we played pretty good on the road, and I don't think we played good enough at home at all. That's something that's got to change next year for sure. I mean, we have to play way, way better at home. No excuses at all. We have to play better basketball so people want to come watch us. We got to play cleaner basketball. So I'm not oblivious to some of the things that we've got to improve on in year two.
I know you're still living it right now, but back February 1st, the team was 5-5 in the Big Ten. Now 6-11. When you look back at this month, is it the travel? Is it the lack of depth? Is it just you being in year one and having to totally turn over the roster? What do you think is the most responsible for the slide?
Yeah, I mean, as I look back at, I thought Desmond's injury, when we played those two games, I thought that our team fought. I don't know if I've had a team play any harder than they did at Northwestern. And we lose the game at Northwestern on a last-second shot. And then we go to Purdue and we're down. And Purdue's phenomenal at home. And it might be the hardest place I've ever played at. And that's saying a lot when you've been to Auburn and Alabama and some of the places in the SEC. So I thought that two-game thing, and then we get an injured player back, and then there's an adjustment there. But the Northwestern loss hurt, and the Minnesota loss at home hurt. As I look back, and you're asking about, the Cal game at home, the Minnesota game at home, and the Northwestern game. Those are the games that I'll look back at in the summer.
Coach, you've referenced a couple times next season in your thinking. When do you start, or have you started, to have somebody take a look at players that might be in the portal and what your thinking is?
We don't look at the portal at this time until somebody's name goes in there. I don't know how you can guess who's going to go in the portal. So I'm not a fortune teller. I have no earthly idea who's going to go in the portal, so I don't know why you'd waste your time when you're in the middle of a season to look at players that you don't even know if they're going to be in the portal.
All right, that's all for today. Thank you.